Hey, good morning, all. Nathan Ivey with you. It's the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Cincinnati's first daily digital talk show that focuses on the Black community. Good morning. Today, among other things, I want to talk about the myth of sunshine, why WAP will never keep a man, and three things that you might have missed this week. There it is. Three things you might have missed this week. Please take a second, family, to like and share today's show. We'll also be talking about a smattering of other topics as well. We'll get started in less than 1 minute. Good morning, Cincinnati.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
And let's get started, family. Nathan Ivey with you. Good morning. Make sure I'm camera ready. Hold on, let me check everything. Make sure we're looking good before I put the camera up. And then formally invite you to my home studio. And I've been doing the Nathan Ivey Show from the house now. Yeah, I think we're looking good. Hold on 1 second. We're looking good. You know, when you stay ready, you don't have to get ready, right? You know what I'm saying? Hey, good morning to you. And let's get into it. 513-873-7134. Hey, good morning and welcome to my home. Yeah, glad to have you, as always. And as always, many things to discuss. Want to make sure that we're looking good on Facebook. Hold on, let me see my Spreaker family. Yeah, what's up, Spreaker family? Good to see you. We on Spreaker this morning. So you got 4 ways to check out the show live, okay? You got the TuneIn app, which is a free app that you can download to your phone and listen to the show. You might already be on TuneIn. You can listen to the show that way. You've got the Spreaker app, which is, again, another free app that you can download and listen to the show and subscribe. When you hear me say chop shop, I'm talking about the people who are in the chat room on Spreaker. That's how I kicked off the show many years ago. I kicked it off just doing Spreaker. Within the last few months now, we've added a video element. You know what I'm saying? And now you can look into the studio and take a look at me. I'm not sure why you want to do that, but if you're into that, go right ahead. I think it brings another level of interactivity. I'm kind of joking with you. And that's up on Facebook and also on YouTube. Now, next week, something different for Facebook. Next week, I'm going to be going live from Sin Digital Media's Facebook page all week long. And that'll be the way that you can check out the show. Now, I'll share it to the Nathan Ivey Show page and other places, but it will be originated from Sin Digital Media, along with the other Sin Digital Media, live streams and podcasts as well. All right. Hey, good morning to everybody. I'm glad that you're here and many things to discuss. Now, I want to talk about a lot of things. To some degree, today will be a little bit of a weekend review, a little bit, because a lot of things happened this week, and 3 things in particular that you might have missed that I think are very important. But I also want to talk about the myth of sunshine. The myth of sunshine. Like, how many people ever seen a movie called A Rage in Harlem? A Rage in Harlem. You may see the movie Rage in Harlem. A Rage in Harlem. It was actually big at the time because it had some of the biggest living black comics that all came together. You had Eddie Murphy, who was at the top of his game. You know what I'm saying? You had Red Fox, right? And you also had none other than who? Richard Pryor. And another smattering of other just big black talent that was really big at that particular time. Yeah, Della Reese was in that movie. How many people remember that movie Rage in Harlem? It was directed by a brother named Bill Dukes. And it was kind of like a black gangster film that was obviously set in Harlem, right? Remember that? Robin Givens was in the movie. Danny Glover was in the movie. I mean, just throwing out some names that you might remember. I recently saw a photograph of Robin Givens. I mean, she hasn't aged too badly. She ain't aged too badly at all. Gregory Hines was in the movie. You might remember that. And also a woman named Layla Rashawn was in the movie. Matter of fact, if you look at today's cover, our top left box, that's Layla Rashawn in character as Sunshine. And she played a prostitute. And it was kind of like a running gag on the show that she had really, really good Il Nana. Matter of fact, there was a scene in which they paired her up, and it was all part of the plot, you know what I'm saying, to get, for the heroes of the movie to end up getting what they were looking for. And she actually made a man, like, he left his wife. Like an infamous scene from black comedy. He called his wife, like, look, baby, hey, yeah, I ain't never coming home again, and hung the phone up. And apparently it was all because of the Il Nana, the WAP. It was all a part because of the WAP. Now, if you don't know, WAP is an acronym that stands for Wet Earth. Well, you fill in the blank. We all grown. We're all grown, right? And it's kind of interesting because this week we found out that Cardi B is now filing divorce from her husband. They've been estranged for some time, living apart. She's asking for some support. And of course, she, along with Meg the Stallion, and I still love that rap name. They have I don't know where it is in the charts right now, but it got a lot of play a few weeks back. They got a song of that same title, WAP, WAP. And it's very, very sexual, which is not that new. I mean, it is what it is. Get over yourself. We all grown folks out here. And I want to talk about this a little bit. Listen, let me just get straight into it. WAP will never keep a man. And perhaps these flows are for maybe younger women. I can only assume that older women, I'm talking about late 30s, 40s, 50s, and otherwise, y'all should already know this. But WAP will never keep a man. Never, ever. It's never happened. Maybe it's a couple little things over, maybe a few examples, but for the most part, WAP will never keep a man. And the reason is very simple. The reason is very, very simple. And it's the myth of sunshine, right? Now, we never talked about it, but that scene right there and that character with Layla Rashawn was a part of the overall conversation about the hypersexualization of black people and black women in general. But because it was funny, people don't really critique it that much. I remember years ago having a conversation with a black film critic in which he brought it up, and I thought, you got a point. Hey, fellas, have you ever met a sunshine in your life? And you might be married or in a relationship. I tell you all the time, don't listen to the Nathan Ivey Show with your significant other because you're not going to be able to be honest. You got to listen to this show by yourself. She's sitting there right next to you. What you going to say? No. You got to say, oh, yeah, I got some sunshine right now. Yeah, we all do. We all do. For sure. But the myth of sunshine, while WAP will never keep a man, and it's very, very simple. It's very simple. I'm going to break this down for you real quick. And then we're going to move on and maybe come back to the conversation. You can agree or disagree. But the reason why WAP will never keep a man is because WAP is so plentiful. Believe it or not, there's a lot of WAP out here. And there's a lot of women that's willing to share the WAP. And if you're a man like Offset, who's got global notoriety, you on the surface, even though he got a bad deal and getting fleeced by his record company, you know what I'm saying? You got all kind of cash and diamonds and all this glittery, bling, bling stuff. Man, that attracts a lot of women out there. There's a lot of loose women that would attract. And believe it or not, there's a lot of loose women to have WAP. It's real simple. There's another movie titled The Best Man. How many people saw that movie, The Best Man? Some of these movies drop a little bit of jewels, man. You got to pay attention. This movie came out back in 1999. It's called The Best Man. And at its time, it was really, really dope. I remember watching the movie. I enjoyed it because, we went through this era where it seemed like every black movie was about crack and making it out of the hood and the projects. And this movie was just young black professionals. Remember this? It stars some people that's still around right now, like Tay Diggs, Sanaa Lathan, Morris Chestnut, Terrence Howard. Who else was in it? Monica Calhoun, remember her? Yeah, I could say Sanaa Lathan over and over again all day long. Came out in 1999. Remember this movie? You might remember it. That movie was super dope, man. It was like a comedy, and it was just like black love and relationships, right? And we had went through the 90s where everything was so hard. It was about crack, and it was about dope. It was about drugs. And it's like and surviving the black experience, right? And this movie came along with others, at that particular time frame. And it just offered something that was refreshing. But it was a very interesting, in the movie, let me give you a synopsis. And if you haven't seen this movie, something's wrong with you. You got to see this, man. What's wrong with you? I know it was many years ago, but check it out. If you're a moviegoer, you should have seen this movie already. It's worth your time, especially if you're black. Circle back around and check out this movie. You'll enjoy it. Has some pretty funny characters, man. Like that Terrence Howard's character, he was hilarious in that movie. He was hilarious. And it all centered around these college friends who came back together because two of their friends from college were now getting married. Remember Lance? And Lance was what? A football player. He was a running back for the New York Giants. Remember this? Damn, that movie was so dope. It was so much fun. And then there was some infidelity and some betrayal and things like that. I mean, you got to have some kind of plot to it. But there's a very interesting scene in that movie in which all the fellows are sitting around. It's like the night before the a couple days or a day before the bachelor party, right? You got to have a bachelor party. Remember the bachelor party? Remember? Yes. Anyway, and So they're sitting around talking about whatever. And one of the characters says, you know what? There's no ill nana like new ill nana. And as a man, that really touched me because nothing could be nothing could be more true. That's very true from a male perspective. And for women out there like, Nate, you married, can I speak honest to me and my truth? And my wife is okay with me speaking honest. Can't you be? Damn it. Stop with all the there you go objectifying women. Please stop so I can deliver this gospel. Okay? Please stop it. Get over yourself. But there's no ill nana like new ill nana, which is very true. You can ask any man. You can ask your man right now. If he's honest, he's going to say Nate is telling the truth. If he loves you and he wants to protect your feelings, he might lie to you. It is what it is. All right. But I stand by what I'm saying. That movie was the debut of Regina Hall. Do you remember that scene when we were introduced to Regina Hall? It's worth your time, fellas. I'm going to be honest with you. Today, I'm being a man. Is that okay? Is it okay if I'm a man today? All right, then. Okay, let me do me. All right. But two things can be true at the same. I mean, or can they be? I mean, if no ill nana is like, if there's no ill nana like new ill nana, doesn't that contradict the idea of sunshine? I don't know. Maybe. But that's what it comes down to, ladies. That's why you should never invest in something so trivial. Like, for instance, I think that real love has nothing to do with sex per se. The longer you're in a relationship with somebody, the more you realize that sex is really important. Don't get me wrong now. You know what I'm saying? WAP all through the marriage is very, very important. But what happens if you get into a long-term relationship, marriage or what otherwise, and somebody gets into a tragic accident and they're not physically able to have sex anymore? You going to leave them? I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I think about my own relationship. If something should happen to the wifey, do you think I'm going to leave her? No, we in it for life. So clearly there are relationships that can be built upon things that are much more deeper than just, sexual intercourse. I say invest in that. Now, WAP can get you a man. It ain't going to keep him. Because the thing about WAP is like, it's always good, but it's like the more you have it, it's like it doesn't degrade it, but it's like the more you have it, the less value it has a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Fellas, help me out with this. Not to say that you ever devalue it. And then as it relates to women in WAP, it's like there's a lot of WAP out here. You know what I'm saying? I know, ladies. Every woman thinks that what she's sitting on is platinum, and I understand that. And you should think that about yourself. You should have a high self-esteem, and all men feel the same thing about, what they got going on. I get it. We should all feel that way. But I'm speaking real with you on a Friday morning, okay, from a black male perspective. You can take it or leave it. You know what I'm saying? What you do with this is up to you. But, really all WAP is the same, but every WAP is unique. Does that make any sense? All WAP is the same, but every WAP is unique. Like every person, every woman is different. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got the same thing. You got hips, you got areolas, you got a labia, you all got the same stuff, but every person is unique. You might feel the same thing about a man, but I can't speak to that. You have to speak your own truth on that one. You know what I'm saying? But it all does the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Like every WAP essentially offers a man the exact same thing that every other WAP offers it. Some might be a little bit more shallow. Some might be a little deeper. Some might get a little whoppier. You know what I'm saying? You might be a little more whoppier. But they all basically do the same thing. I mean, just not to burst your bubble or anything, but I'm just saying that's the reason why. That's the reason why you see like a Cardi B or a Halle Berry or a Beyonce. Like if Beyonce getting cheated on, what hope you got? Just tell you, it's got to be a deeper connection like that prevents a man from stepping out. And it ain't got nothing to do with a WAP. If a man step out, that's because that's what he wants to do. It's inside of him. It don't matter. He could have WAP from the gods. It makes no difference. It's not going to stop anything. It don't matter how freaky you get. It don't matter what you do. Oh, I do this. They all do the same things. And there's women out there willing to do everything that you're willing to do. And they got new WAP, which is a bit of a premium in the minds of a man. Like the unknown WAP will always have a je ne sais quoi to it. It'll always have an X factor to it. It's just what we didn't set this up. God set this up. You know what I'm saying? That gives us the motivation to procreate. He wants to populate the earth. We didn't set this up. We just living under these biological rules. I'm just trying to explain to you, okay, what's going on. All right, that's it. And then, it's just so interesting. I saw somebody posted a meme. Matter of fact, I think it was Fane Rothstein on Instagram. He posted a meme where it was kind of like when Offset cheats, women are like, oh, he's the worst thing ever. And then when Jada Pinkett cheats, and I'm speaking generally because there's exceptions to every rule, women are like, well, it's just an entanglement. I can understand it. I'm trying to give you a deeper understanding of it, okay? So you don't run out here with bad information, trying to, I don't know where you are in the stages of your relationship. Again, I suspect this will be more useful to younger women. I'm hoping and I suspect that older women or more mature, should I say women, right? Already know this, but I don't know. Some of y'all egos, I don't know. So that's the reason why WAP will never keep a man. That's not, if you got a man in your life right now, he's faithful. It ain't because you got the wappiest WAP that's ever in all the WAPdom. That don't mean nothing at all. It means nothing to a man. It also depends on the man. Like, if you have a man that's less experienced, okay, then the WAP and the wappiness of the WAP is going to mean more to him. If you have a man that's more experienced, then the wappiness of your WAP is going to mean less to him because he's been around the WAPs. He's had a few WAPs. So it's like, I think what really keeps the relationship is the individual and their relationship with themselves. I'll say it again. You got some dudes out here that swear they max. I got this. I got side pieces. They've invested their ego in their sexual conquest, which says something a lot about their ego, right? There's some dudes out here that swear they max, they this, they that, and they really, really insecure inside. And they need sexual conquest to make them feel good about themselves. Ladies, stay away from these busters. You don't need that in your life. I'm just telling you. I'm just keeping it 100 with you. What makes a man faithful or not faithful is the man, how he looks at himself. And then it's much deeper than WAP. It's I would say that it's 90% the individual, as a man. It's 90% the man, his experiences, what his values are, what's the basis of his ego, right? That's where I look at it. I could be wrong, but I am a man. And I have been married for 20 years. And I did have a career before I got married. That's how I refer to it. I'm just sharing this with you. You can take it, you can leave it, you can reject it, you can embrace it, you can hug it. You can kiss it or not. It's up to you. You know what I'm saying? But the one thing you have to say is I'm being 100% with you. So, making sure you got prime WAP. Your WAP should be the best WAP that you could possibly offer to your man or a man. That's important. Health. Clean WAP. That means disease and drug-free WAP is always better than diseased and drug-ridden WAP. You know that. But again, I just feel like there's a myth when it comes to sunshine. But maybe I'm wrong about that. You tell me. 513-873-7134. Now, I'm not going to spend the entire morning talking about WAP. I could, and I would enjoy it. But there's many things that I want to talk about this morning, but I want to start with that because that's the cover art for today's podcast. All right, we got an early call here. Let me go to the call very, very early this morning, 513-873-7134. And let's say good morning and welcome. Hey, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Good morning. How are you, Nathan? This is Charmaine McGuffey.
What's up, Charmaine? How you doing?
I'm well, thank you. I'm very well.
How is everything?
Everything is going, just so fantastic. Just wonderful, really. And I'm really excited. I just wanted to call. I won't take up too much of your time, but I just wanted to call and let you know we do have a voter registration drive that is going to be this Saturday, September 19th, and it's going to be from 11 to 2. And there are various locations. There's Avondale, Lincoln Heights. I'm going to be over in Lincoln Heights with the voter registration people, and Bond Hill, Forest Park and Woodlawn. And I'm going to post that on my Facebook page. So if anyone wants to visit that and find the actual addresses and where we'll be in those neighborhoods, and we're going to be joined by Alicia Reese, who, she's so fabulous. Aftab Piraval, Jamie Castle, Fanon Rucker, Jessica Miranda, and of course myself, Charmaine McGuffey. And it's a safe and easy way to register. So we're asking people to come on out. You can stay in the comfort of your car. We'll have masks and social distancing in place, and come out, register to vote, and, exercise your right. That's how I'm asking people to do it.
Okay. And you said, have you already posted on Facebook?
We're getting ready to post that on Facebook. In fact, today. Well, it'll be on there this morning.
Okay, great.
It's on there right now.
Okay,
yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go there and share it with the people so they can actually see the visual, and then I'll talk about it more on the show as well. So I appreciate that. Oh,
yeah. Awesome, Nathan. And thank you so much for taking my call. I just wanted to remind people, hey, it's this justice is on the ballot, everybody. We absolutely can fix this system. We just need to do it together. So thank you.
Thank you for the call. Appreciate it.
All right.
Yeah. How many shows in Cincinnati can go from a conversation about WAP to local politics and voter registration? I love it. Yeah. As soon as I get that information, I'll post it so everybody knows what's going on. Exercise your right. I love it. I've been watching more and more clips of the NBA, and, I like the little messages that they have on the back of their jerseys. I like the fact that they're really, really promoting voting. I like all of that. I think it'll remind people. I think it's a gentle reminder like, oh, I got to vote. Because there's some people that'll fall asleep and get caught up in the game. So I like the fact that they got social and I think political messages. I think urging people to vote is a political message. It's nonpartisan. They're not saying Democrat or Republican, but just reminding people to vote, which I think is really, really important. Because some people, man, get super wrapped up in sports. Like last night, I know the Bengals and the Browns played. I watched some clips this morning. And the Browns beat the Bengals last night. So the Bengals are 0-2, which you should be used to. Does Zach Taylor have any wins? Did they win any games last year? Damn, if he was a black coach, he'd be on the hot seat already. I'm going to go ahead and say it. I know I had to make it racial. I know. If I don't do it, who's going to do it? You know what I'm saying? Who's going to do it? But again, only on the Nathan Ivey Show can you go from two polar opposites in terms of the conversations. But again, that conversation still stands if you want to share your thoughts. I throw that out there as just advice. it's just advice. I got a clip for you. This is the actual clip from A Rage in Harlem when they introduced the Sunshine character. Check this out.
You got a girl who can turn him out?
I have got a girl whose spit is so good, if you threw it up in the air, it would turn into sunshine.
Well, I don't want to meet her.
I do.
What is Red Fox going to do? Red Fox was like 90 in that movie. What's he going to do with Sunshine? Mess around in the hospital? Oh, my God. Hilarious. Yes. I know a girl whose is so good. If you throw it up in the air, it would turn into sunshine. Really?
Girl can turn him out?
I have got a girl whose spit is so good. If you threw it up in the air, it would turn into sunshine.
Fellas, have you ever met a woman like that? If you're in a space to share.
Well, I don't want to meat her.
I do.
So Richard Pryor knew his place. He was like, I'm past my prime. Maybe 30 years ago. It's hilarious, man. That was a funny movie. They had some great scenes in that movie, Rage in Harlem. Again, I recommend it. You should check it out. 513-873-7134. Also, I want to talk about 3 things that you might have missed this week. 3 things that you might have missed this week. And I want to get local with that. Because I got a chance to sort of catch up with some things that happened with City Council. And right now, there's a big conversation right now about how City Council is doling out and dealing with our tax dollars, tax abatements, TIF funding, and things like that. And there was an interesting exchange or conversation that was had by City Council. I want to play this for you. I know we're going again from polar opposites, but that's what I do. This is a clip. You may or may not have missed this. This is from City Cable here. So I'm jumping in local politics. But as you know me, whatever's talked about, feel free throughout the entirety of the show to talk about it. Whenever you have a chance to. I know you're getting busy, and it is a Friday, a work day for a lot of people. But it's very interesting. Then the mayor jumped in, because right now there's a proposal before City Council that will require City Council basically to not just notify, these community councils, but to give community councils a vote, some real power, some real leverage in deciding, how TIF dollars are going to be doled out for different projects. And I thought this was interesting. It gave us a window into the mentality of the current mayor. I want you to check this out.
Smitherman?
Yes.
Sunderman? Yes. Young?
Yes.
Kearney?
Yes.
Landsman? Mann? Silbott?
Yes. Mr. President.
Councilman Mann.
I just wanted to speak.
That's David Mann speaking right there.
33 that we just passed.
David, run away from people that have questions for him, man.
Over in the TIF district funding decisions, that two reforms would be helpful. One would be a requirement that the information about the funding in existence, the balance of the TIF district accounts and so forth, be accessible by citizens. So this provides for, and I think it's already in place or almost in place, a website that provides that information on a continuous basis. Secondly, this ordinance requires engagement with community councils of neighborhoods that are impacted by decisions to spend TIF district dollars, including the request that, or the opportunity for community councils to indicate support or objection, and that those decisions will be communicated to City Council before the administration calls upon us to act. Obviously, we did not delegate our legislative authority. In the end, we have the obligation to exercise our independent judgment, but we want to make sure community groups are involved and that we understand fully what the thoughts are of our neighborhood before we act. So I think this is
doesn't that make sense though? Like, I've watched it for many, election cycle City Council where, I go out as a journalist and I'm at the community council meetings, and it happens every single year. It's about to start happening now because marking November of 2020 will be 1 year away, 1 calendar year away from the next city council election. Again, you've got 6 seats that are going to be up. So you're going to see a lot of new faces and some old faces. Okay. We've already got some indication of who those individuals are, or maybe like a small sample size. And I see it over and over again where, these candidates will go to community council, these community council meetings, and they'll pledge to be transparent. And they'll pledge to listen. I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. I'm going to listen. But the community council has no real say-so. I mean, what's the purpose of it? As David Mann just said there, David Amadeus Mann, who likes to put, white wigs on black kids, in his campaign ads, but does he deliver for the black community? I don't know. I know he was running away from some black folks at that big meeting he had, a few months ago because he got scared. He got scared, running around talking about mobs. No, so those aren't mobs. Those are concerned voters. So I don't, this game that, council candidates play every election cycle by going to the community council and we're going to listen to you. And then they get in there and, as he just said, they exercise their independent judgment because legislatively they've got the power to do what they want to do. Something needs to change with that system. You know what I'm saying? What's the point? And some of you have suggested that these community councils should have like veto power. Like they should have some real leverage and power when it comes to deciding how money's going to be doled out. That's one way of doing it. The other way of doing it is, I know you got the people with Fair Cincy. They got a plan on the table right now. I don't know if they got the signatures for their petition, but they got a plan right now where, they're saying, look, we should have a hybrid system. Just like we're talking about a hybrid system in terms of Cincinnati public schools, like you go to school some days, other days you'll be at home until COVID's no longer a problem. Some folks are suggesting, the Fair Cincinnati people are suggesting that we move to a hybrid system in terms of how we actually elect city council members. And I'll say it again. I don't know if that's the right plan or not, But we got to do something. We keep doing the same thing over and over again as it relates to city council. And then we sit back and we bellyache and we complain about not getting the proper representation. Well, we got to try something different. You know, maybe it's not just a musical chairs of personalities and political ideologies. Maybe we need a structural change in terms of how we actually elect members of city council. Here's how I look at it. You're going to hear me talk more and more about city council. We are about to go through a complete change. Like all of the names and the faces that we've gotten used to are going to be gone. All the folks that we've gotten comfortable with are going to be gone. All of the folks that we've gotten used to criticizing are going to be gone. Okay? There's going to be a whole new cast of characters, a whole new crew, and a new mayor. What are we going to do differently to try to get the representation that we claim that we want, and we claim, and I hear so many people claiming that we're not getting? It's got to be different. It's got to be deeper than just political ideology and personalities. I think perhaps we should look deeper into what Fair Cincinnati is doing. You know what I'm saying? I think maybe there should be some structural changes that could give more accountability to some of these forgotten neighborhoods. Maybe part of the reason why these neighborhoods are forgotten is because of the way that we elect members of city council. It's something to think about. Again, listen, family, if you like the content that I am producing and creating as a Black digital creative person, please like and in particular share today's show. When you share the show, more people see it. It's real simple. Also, don't forget, this show is on YouTube, so please subscribe and hit the bell notification so you can get notified whenever I go live. All right? So now we're going to hear the response, like the mayor, John Cranley, John Do Nothing Cranley. Or should I say John FC Cincinnati Cranley? Because that'll be his crowning achievement once he leaves office. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. You ask John Cranley after he leaves office, so what'd you get done, sir? He's not going to say, we lifted kids out of poverty. He's going to say, well, you know, FC Cincinnati. But that would have happened no matter who the mayor was. That was going to happen no matter what, as I was told by, you know, members of the Cincinnati School Board when I asked them why they voted for it. It's going to happen anyway, Nate. What will we do? What will we do? We got to go along with it. Okay. So please like and share today's show if you like this content. Spread the gospel of the flow this morning. I really appreciate it. I can't see and be everywhere. There might be some spaces on Facebook. I'm just not there. Appreciate you.
A very helpful step forward, and I thank my colleagues for supporting it.
I wasn't planning to comment, but I do feel like I just want to make a few points.
This is John FC Cincinnati.
Maybe I'm making some of these points because I'm term limited and I'm not running again, but
thank God.
And, you know, I love you, and I know that the intentions are good. I just want to set out a few facts. These are tax dollars that are collected by citizens, and there is a process by how tax dollars are spent. They elect 9 members of city council and a mayor to make those decisions. And in every case where there has been an expenditure from TIF districts, there have been, as required by state law, multiple notices to community groups. And in fact, they show up and they testify and they tell us their opinion. I found it odd that last week or the week before, we were hearing from the very neighborhoods whose TIF districts were being spent for Court Street that they didn't know about it. And yet they knew about it because they were testifying to us about their opinion about what we should or shouldn't do with their TIF dollars. So I think it's a myth that neighborhoods are unaware. In fact, they're extremely aware. But I also believe that the city council should not abdicate its responsibility to make decisions. And I worry that giving a veto power to communities on their TIF is a mistake. They will always be noticed. They can come to our hearings. They always find out about how their money is being spent, and they let us know their opinion. But I just want to be clear that if I believe that there's a project that can and should be spent with TIF dollars, I'm going to propose it, whether or not I went and got approval from the community council in advance or not. And if city council wants to sit on it for a month, that's certainly city council's right. But even though, for example, I disagreed with the idea of city council to take the TIF dollars to pay for the operations of the streetcar.
So, I mean, think about that. You might have missed this week. And I want to share, again, 3 things that you might have missed. That's the first one. This conversation right there with TIF dollars with the mayor, just sharing his mentality. And it poses, it offers an interesting question for citizens of Cincinnati as we're a year away. Number one, I think as, people set up these forums, I think conversations about TIF dollars should be a heavy focus, right, with the next group of Cincinnati City Council members. So we get a sense of, what they're, where they're coming from, what their vision is, and how they view the relationship as a member of City Council and what they should do with it. But what do you think? I mean, do you think that particular neighborhood councils within the city of Cincinnati should have a veto power to decide how TIF dollars are going to be spent in their neighborhood? I mean, on the surface, let's say you're out in Madisonville, or let's say you're out in Avondale. Doesn't it make more sense that if you actually live in Avondale, if you're a member of the community council, let's say you're a long-term member, business owner of Avondale, that you're going to have a different insight and perspective than, let's say, a city council member that was voted to city council at large, and maybe they never lived in Avondale. Maybe they never lived in Avondale a day in their life, which is completely possible, right? Maybe they do no business in Avondale. So, I mean, you can live in Cincinnati and still be completely disconnected to some of these neighborhoods. Like, you can grow up on the east side of Cincinnati and have no dealings whatsoever with the west side of Cincinnati and vice versa, and live in Cincinnati your entire life. It's true. I mean, you got some folks that's on the extreme east or extreme west of Cincinnati that have had no interactions whatsoever with Avondale, no interaction whatsoever with the West End, no interaction whatsoever with Madisonville whatsoever until they run for council, hypothetically. You know what I'm saying? This idea that if you grow up in Cincinnati, you're touched by every neighborhood is a damn lie. That's the myth. And that's the problem with this at-large system that we have, the more I think about it, because you got council members that, presumably are completely out of touch with other parts of Cincinnati, which, again, I ain't hating on you per se. Personally, I believe that if you're going to be an elected official, you got to get them walking shoes on if you don't already have those experiences as you grew up here in the city of Cincinnati, and get to know and get more familiar. But even doing that is not going to supersede or outweigh someone who grew up in a particular neighborhood, has a business in a particular neighborhood. They're going to have insights that just far outweigh, again, a council person who don't have the same experiences. So I don't know. Do you think that neighborhood councils should have, let's say, veto power, just for the sake of the conversation, over how and where their TIF dollars, and I'm talking about some real legislative, like they can block the will of city council if they decide that it's not in their best interest? Or do you agree with the mayor, the city council should not abdicate, those responsibilities? I mean, the argument can be made that, hey, that's why we elect them. You know what I'm saying? Cue to Bobby Brown. That's my prerogative. It's their prerogative, right? Something to think about. 513-873-7134. If you want to share your thoughts this morning, I would love to hear them. Let me jump inside the chop shop. Let me start with the folks on Spreaker. Sharp writes, good morning, or he writes, good TGIF, Nate and the Choppers. Angela writes, salutations. The insatiable trick writes, good morning. WAP will ruin your life if you're a man. It will allow a scandalous woman to attempt to pilfer your assets and hire friends to extinguish her threats. WAP is dangerous, but the alternative is gross. You are immersed. Man, some of y'all was saying WAB this week. We were talking about Andrew Gillum. I'm going to leave it right there. He said WAP is dangerous. Now, to young men, there are some pitfalls to WAP. You got to control your relationship with WAP and not let the relationship with WAP control you. WAP will change the trajectory of your life if you let it. And that's why it's up to fathers, uncles, grandfathers, older men in the family to school younger men on how to deal with WAP. You know what I'm saying? I'm speaking from the experience of an experienced, mature man. Okay? I'm not 18. I'm not 19. I'm not 20. I'm not 21. Well, those days are way gone past. Okay? Right? So the way I look at it is completely different than I did. I can remember how I looked at it when I was 20 and 21, and it wasn't good. There is elements of truth in what, let's say, IT is saying. Because I don't like saying insatiable trick. I'll just say IT. We'll call the IT department. Tracy writes, hi. Tanika writes, good morning, Nate and Choppers. Angela writes, Angela writes, WAP is giving WAP a run for the money. Ask to kill him. She wrong for that. She wrong for that. I love the internet. That's all I can say. She writes, maybe Nas X is working on that. It's going to be one of those mornings. Why? It's a Friday. We got to have fun on a Friday. Miss D writes greetings. Brian writes morning. Kiki writes peace, love, and light. Miss D writes, I think you meant Harlem Nights. Did I say Rage in Harlem? I meant Harlem Nights, right. Wait. Let me double check this. No, it's called A Rage in Harlem. That's the name of the movie, A Rage in Harlem. Harlem Nights, that sounds familiar. What is that? Is it Harlem Nights or Rage in Harlem? If it's Harlem Nights and I was in error, my apologies. Appreciate that. Thank you for the correction. Love the Choppers, man. They on top. Brenda writes, happy Friday. Thank you so much. Kiki writes, I remember it. It was a very good to me. Talking about the movie? Yes, it was. It was interesting. IT writes, Harlem Nights, Nathan. A Rage in Harlem was Wesley Snipes. Right. You're right about that. Harlem Nights. Thank you so much. Mike Jones writes, good morning, TGIF. Iris writes, good morning, great people. You know, I saw that post you made about Dan Hills. Dan Hills is part of the problem in Cincinnati. Cincinnati's relationship with the Cincinnati Police Department will never reach its potential. We'll never have the best relationship that we can as long as Dan Hills is the FOP president. It'll never happen. Because to me, Dan Hills is one of these people that he benefits off a division. And if he either he's purposely on some Lord Peter Baelish type ish, you know what I'm saying, from Game of Thrones, either he's purposely stirring the pot or he's just not bright enough to understand that there's a way to represent the rank and file of the Fraternal Order Police, but also be a good agent for the community. It's either or. Either he's on some straight up Lord Peter Baelish type ish, and chaos is a ladder, and he's stirring the pot because he feels like that benefits him as the president of the FOP. Or he's just not bright enough, not skilled enough to really understand that you can represent the rank and file of the FOP and not try to incite division and sow division and to really be a positive change, agent for FOP. You know what I'm saying? In my entire adult life, it seems like every FOP president in Cincinnati always takes the same posture. And it's like, is it possible? Is it possible to be a fearless, tearless leader and supporter of the FOP and also be a positive agent in the community here in the city of Cincinnati? Because I haven't seen it in my adult life. I haven't seen it. The relationship between the community and the police in Cincinnati will never, this is just my opinion through years of observation, it will never be its best as long as Dan Hills is here. We need Iyanla to come here and fix this relationship. I don't even think she could fix it. Because, Dan Hills as a leader, some of his actions seem to be sophomoric, right? Like, it's almost childlike. It's almost childlike. And then some of it seems to be straight up on some Lord Peter Baelish, I'm going to pit them against each other. And then that way I can win type ish. That's just my humble opinion. And, you know, I saw her, what Sister Iris posted on Facebook, I think it was in the last 24 hours. That's when it came to my attention. I'm like, why? You're a leader. Dan Hills is a leader. You're not a comic. This ain't a game. It's not about jokes. It's not funny. You have a, like it or not, he's got a prominent position in our fabric of Cincinnati. And again, this is just my opinion. We'll never have the relationship that we need to move Cincinnati forward as long as he's there. But let me go to the phones. I talked her up. Sister Iris is on the line. Hey, good morning, Sister Iris. Welcome to the show.
Good morning, dear brother. How are you?
I'm doing good. Welcome.
Oh, thank you. Well, let me just say something to your first point about the FOP president. I got to tell you, in working with from Roger Webster, Keith Feynman, Kathy Harold, to this particular individual, he is by far the worst. And if you can imagine, in 2001, FOP pushing back against any possibility of changing their culture, policy, procedure, infusion of community, going into federal court, being in the media, not just locally, but nationally as far as changes, being hit by the federal courts. They were extremely mad. But as vile and vicious as this dude, he's been elected, and this is his second term. But yesterday, the day before, was too much. It sent a lot of people over the edge. And I think what is so disgusting about what he said was that there were 3 Black people that were found dead by some children. His immediate response is what they ask us not to do, is to jump to conclusions, to make assertions about what actually happened. So 2 days ago, he goes on WVXU, he's talking to Greg Landsman, and I think that conversation was posted. And he's just like, well, 3 people were murdered, and, Black Lives Matter. They're out here talking about police brutality. But who's talking about this? And who's going to do this? And I don't know if it was a murder, suicide, or suicide, but I'm just saying. You're just saying what? And so then he posts on his very hateful, divisive, unnecessary, and unwanted website saying that, here, I thought they were killed by plastic bags. And I think he was referring to because council was voting on banning plastic. Issue for the country. It's an issue for Earth. But it's certainly those 3 Black individuals that whatever happened in this very horrible tragedy that were found by some children did not deserve his foolishness, his hate and division. That was not the time. The problem for me is that this morning, dear brother Nathan, the Managers Advisory Group on the Collaborative Image Refresh comes back together for the first time in months, in almost a year. And he is on there. And I'm sick of it. I don't want to see his face. It's clear that he does not believe in accountability for officers, because I've never heard him say any of the officers here in the city of Cincinnati, if they do something wrong, are accountable. Even when the chief came out on the accidental shooting and said it was inappropriate use of force, he went against that. Every time the chief has something to say, he goes against it. It's not just community that he goes against the leadership of the daggone police department. He's not the leader of the police department. Folks, he is the president of the union. His job is to negotiate the terms of the contract. Yes, to represent the officers, but not in a way that it divides the community. It incites hate and thus violence. We have issues. This is not utopia for Black people and the police, but we've been working damn hard to get the right policies and procedures in place. We do not need the likes of Dan Hills. I wish that I could fire him or figure out how we could get rid of him, because you're absolutely right. We will never reach our potential. And for that reason alone, Nathan Ivey, I'm telling you, we are not a model. You can't be a model when the leader of the union is running around being the most divisive piece of vile, despicable human being that you can. And if you listen to that, I wish you would, and I'll try to post the link in your comments, play the interview with he and Greg Landsman. It's so just, try to be so intimidating and speaking over people. And again, whose name does he bring up? Mine. Damn, well, Iris Rowley said police murder people. Well, damn it, we've seen that happen this year alone. Really? Is that your problem? But you can call people in Avondale and say that they live in the ghetto and they don't care. You could talk about us, but nobody can assess you and nobody can call you out and an officer that does wrong when they use inappropriate force. So this morning's not going to be a good meeting. I'm going to tell the choppers that right now until the city does something. I went through this personally with Dan Hills last year. He put a huge target on my back and sent my family over the edge. That's why sometimes it ain't fun and games, because this issue is real for people. We know that we have out here who believe that they have power and control, that they are judge, executioner of our lives, and that they get to make the decisions. This is why we have the collaborative agreement. We don't have the collaborative agreement because the police department said we want to come to the table and we want to fix how we police in the Black community. We don't have the collaborative agreement because the city at that time said we want to come to the table and make sure that there's equity, transparency, and accountability in our force. We have the collaborative because the Black United Front and the ACLU sued in federal court because of the deaths of 14 unarmed Black men in the city of Cincinnati. That's why we have it. So let's not forget how we got here. And let's not forget even the shootings and the deaths from that time since we signed the agreement. We still have tons of work to do. And so to see that sit me over the edge, this is unacceptable behavior by someone who is supposed to be the president of the union. And just because you're the president of the union does not give you the right to say and do anything. You should be checked. And the city, the mayor, while you're playing the mayor whining about the tips and being accountable to communities about those things, he needs to do something. Remember last year, I've never seen the Sentinels have a press conference against the police. They did that in service to Iris Rowley and the work of the collaborative agreement and its refresh. They had a press conference. And then we went to City Hall. The community went to City Hall and said to the mayor and council, do something. Say something. Why are you allowing him to do? I mean, how can we? I'm often amazed at us. Because time and time again, we do the work. We show up. Okay, we answer the questions. We do all these things. But yet, this one individual can take us back 20 years. I'm here to tell you we're no longer the mock. In Cincinnati, if you don't demand something better, you won't get anything greater. It will only go backwards. And I think that that's where he and Councilwoman Betsy Sunderman trying to go. She's got legislation in front of council that she wants votes on to say that they will never defund the police. Well, dear brother, let me ask you, is it really just about the words or is it about the action? Because I remember under previous Chief Blackwell, when the city was in a crunch, that he saved the police department and the city $1 million, went to City Hall and said, this is what I did. Is that defunding or is that good government? Is it defunding when funds from one department to another to have appropriate, accountable policing? Is that defunding or is that good, responsible government? Is that good, responsible leadership inside of the police department so that there's fairness and equity for all? We have got to open our eyes. I'm so appreciative that Charmaine called in and said that there were going to be voter registrations because that's the first step. Get registered to vote. We can have all these things on paper, but if you have legislators who will write legislation like this that will sabotage the work and then create and sow division between and massage that us against them, it's no us against them. Why can't black folk have better? Why do we always have to settle for less? Why do we have to get the little, the crumbs? And then we fight about it and go, oh, Iris is just talking. Why would I want to have this conversation day after day, month after month, week after week, year after year? Why do we have to still talk about police brutality? We've seen it in the most horrific ways that we could possibly endure. My goodness, but somehow it's on us and not on them. This makes no sense to me. It is so asinine. Second thing, dear brother, today at 4 on our Freedom Friday, Policing and the Pandemic, we will be talking to Attorney Jennifer Branch, who is also running for judge. She negotiated that settlement, that civil settlement for Mr. Maxton, the brother who was being charged with murder. And almost went to jail. I mean, he did go to jail, but would have spent who knows how much time he would have gotten. But the police and the prosecutors withheld the DNA evidence. In 2020, we still have those things occurring. And she's going to break that down. Now, because of the settlement that was reached, because of how it was structured, they're going to go back into the prosecutor's office, get a special master, and look at murder charges where it relates to DNA to make sure that anyone who was charged with murder got fair representation and was able to get that DNA introduced into the courtroom. We are still fighting the 1619 pandemic, folks. And I know we talking about all other stuff, but that could have been you, I, or anybody in our family. All we want is the same due process that Dan Hills is talking about give to the police. We want it too. But you better not say anything about the police or he will come after you. Here's what I'm not. I'm not scared of him and anybody like him. And I would suggest that you all please pay attention to your legislators who are writing pieces of legislation. She got it out on Twitter. I responded to that last night. You ever thought about Betsy Sunderman asking the community how they feel? We are the ones who determine if the police department is better, not them. This is a service-driven organization. How can you determine that your service is good if you didn't ask me for if the service that I received was well? So this morning at 9:30, the MAG is back in session. I've sent all my thoughts. There are more community people on the MAG. I think I asked you, dear brother, if you wanted to be on the MAG. This thing is going left, and you're absolutely correct. We will never be able to reach our potential with a person like Dan Hills leading the police union. Never. So we are no longer the model. If anybody asks me, I'm going to tell you the truth. We are looking at 2,000 arrests that happened in 2019 that we have no clue of what happened. 2,000 arrests. 1,500 were African Americans, and we don't even know what happened. I'm still trying to get the data on that. And we want to say that we're the model. No, we are slipping backwards daily. And so while we're, I know that there's going to be some of the folks in the chop shop talking ish, but you know what? You can't even, you wouldn't be able to handle a conversation with Dan Hills because you're like that. And you believe that they should tell us. And that's not how this thing is supposed to work. So I appreciate you today, 9:30, and I'll report back on Monday how it goes. I'll send you whatever it is that we get out of that. Please, if you could join us at 4, hopefully we can go live on Facebook so you can hear the breakdown of the structure of the settlement and what this means for the city of Cincinnati, what it means for the Hamilton County Prosecutor's Office, because all of this happened under Joe Dieters, and then what does this matter with and for the community, more specifically the Black community. All right.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
That's all I got.
Yeah, Sister Iris. Always keeping it real and keeping the community informed. Again, she helps this show in ways that people don't even know. And I appreciate her. Door is always open. Very interesting. So I jumped over to, I didn't realize that, but Betsy Sunderman follows me. We follow each other. I follow all the members of City Council and all the major players as they come to my radar screen. So, again, Twitter, and I've been saying this for years, and I think we all know it now, but for years and years, this has been true, that social media has been a primary way for prominent individuals, elected individuals to communicate to the masses. And so paying attention to it, that's why a part of all of my show prep as a moderator, and even when I bring people on the show, is to analyze what they put on social media. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a reflection of what's important to them. So this is Bessie Sunderman. Let me put this up on the screen here so you know what's going on. And this is another thing that I want to make sure you don't miss this week. This is very, very important. And of course, Sister Iris called in early in the week and just brought it further to our attention here. Hold on, I'm going to put this on the screen so you can see this. This is very, very important here. Very important. Check this out. This is Bessie Sunderman on Twitter. I filed 2 motions that will be voted on by City Council this coming Wednesday. That's 9/23. That's next week. So I'm not telling you about what already happened. I'm not telling you about what happens today. This is time for you to do whatever you're going to do. Okay? 9/23. That's next Wednesday at 1:30. 1, don't defund our police. That's the reason why I think the whole defund the police, Black Lives Matter question is so important. Because there are political forces that will try to distort it and try to turn it into propaganda because it fits their purposes. They'll try to politicize it. 2, fly CPD and CFD flags outside of City Hall in honor of the blue mass. Now, there's no mention of this conversation that we heard about, you know, a Blue Lives Matter mural. That might come up later. And she's looking for supporters. Yes. And let me see how many people like to share this. So far, she's got 27 likes and about 3 retweets. 5 people have commented. Someone named Mike writes, I have no stance on the issue of flying a flag, but I feel like the point of this is just to further sow division at a time where the city is already so polarized. Do we really need another public shouting match right now? There's got to be bigger issues to work on. Correctamundo, Mike. Bessie Sunderman don't care about black people being killed. She don't care about the murders. What she cares about is trying to use it for her political advantage so she can get reelected next year. Like I said, you go back to that op-ed piece she wrote in the Cincinnati Enquirer, there was no mention about the pain and the suffering that's happening primarily in our community in terms of the violence. It was all about defund the police and trying to prop herself up as some pro-police Xena warrior queen. And that was it. There was no more emotion. She didn't offer no solutions whatsoever. She just wanted everybody to know that she's the current Xena warrior on city council for the pro-police crowd. That's it. That's it. That's it. Further politicizing the Black death and Black pain in the city of Cincinnati. And then you take Dan Hills. Again, you got a few people that are in prominent positions that don't need to be there. They are the problem. Like Dan Hills and this disgusting joke he was telling. And I'm glad that Sister Iris called in to give us more details about what really happened. You over here telling jokes, homie? You think this is funny? Oh, I thought they was killed by plastic bags. You're a grown man. Now, he lost a daughter. Somebody started telling jokes about his daughter. All of a sudden, he probably want to go to war. But it's okay for you to tell jokes about somebody else's loved one. I mean, come on, man. We gotta do better. We have to have and demand better standards, even from people that we disagree with, even if we don't different sides, polar opposite sides of these issues. We gotta have more compassion than that. We got to have more compassion than that if we're going to build Cincinnati to be what it can be. It'll never be that as long as we got it's a few spaces, very important spaces, leadership positions where these people need to be voted out. We need a whole new mentality. Again, I think it's completely possible for you to be 100% about representing the FOP and still be a positive member and a positive change agent for the overall culture of Cincinnati. I don't think those two things are at odds with one another. I think they work hand in hand. And, you know, I guess if you remember the FOP, I guess you feel like that's leadership, right? I guess you feel like he's representing you. But as a member of the community, he's just making y'all look bad. He's making y'all look bad. It's the wrong voice at the wrong voice, the wrong time, the wrong voice, the wrong tone at the wrong time when we hear from Dan Hills. Oh, I thought it was plastic bags. So you're a flat earther. So you don't believe in that mankind is having an impact in the environment. You think that children finding dead bodies is funny. If these were rank and file members of the police and if these were police officers that were found dead and somebody made a similar joke, he would be ready to go to war. So why is this okay when we talking about citizens? I don't get it, man. Again, we got a few people in critical positions that need to go. They need to go. They are the wrong voice at the wrong time. They're not adding to the conversation. They're not adding to a positive environment. They're trying to sow division because it benefits them. Same with Bessie Sunderman. You could tell she's made a decision right now that she's going to be the pro-police. I'm going to be the Xena warrior for the police. As I understand it, all the members of city council are pro-police. I've never heard any member of city council current member of city council say anything negative like, we don't need the police. And again, for this woman is a magistrate. She got degrees. She's smart. She's educated. And so for an educated person to try to play these political games with the conversation about defund the police is intellectually dishonest. It's an intellectually dishonest conversation. Because that's not even what they've been saying. I talked to Clarence Lusanis. We're going to ask him the question that's been out there, and that is the whole defund the police rhetoric, right? The name of it, is that getting in the way of police reforms? And it is, because you got people like Bessie Sunderman, right? You got other people around the country in their particular cities and municipalities and states or whatever that have seized upon it to try to sow division because they think that it reinforces their position with certain political allies. Oh, this is going to make me look good. Oh, no. Oh, we need a police. Come on now. Stop being intellectually dishonest. You know what people are saying. They're saying, should we reprioritize police budgets? Simple as that. And then, this idea that if you have more police, that you're going to have less crime. If that was true, Betsy, if that was true, all the people that believe that, then why do we have a problem with crime in Cincinnati? We got more police than ever before. Explain this to me. And that's because there isn't necessarily a direct cause and effect relationship between having more police and less crime. Police do not stop crime, right? They respond to crime. Facts. But I know for some, they're trying to scare people. So these Donald Trump tactics, they're trying to scare people to vote for them, scare people to support them. Oh, the suburbanites that don't know better. Oh, we need them because we're going to have these black and brown hordes. Oh, they're going to steal our Timberlands. Oh, they're going to sleep with our children. Oh, God, we got to stop them. And the police is that blue line between us and them. They're scared. They're trying to scare you. That's all it is. Straight up scare tactics. Don't fall for the hype, people. We need to invest in tangibles, right? Equity for people, right? That evens the playing field. That will reduce crime. We need to have long-term strategies to prevent and to deal with poverty. We need to push our school system, right, to create better outcomes and better futures for our students. That's what we need. But all the fear mongering, you can just put that in the trash, man. It means nothing. It's not making us safer. It's not making you safer. It's not making you safer. I'm here to tell you that. Hey, what's up, John? How you doing, man? Yo, John, good morning. I'm doing great, man. Hey, listen, you got me right before I'm about to go to a break. Can you please hold? Okay. We got John from Florida. I haven't talked to him in a minute. He's on the line. We'll talk to him after the break, but I got to go to a break, family. Got to go to a break, okay? I'll be right back. I want to leave you with a positive, beautiful image. Kinda. Good morning to you. All right, we'll start the conversation back up after the break. I'm live. I'm local. and I'm vocal. This is the Nathan Ivey Show, Cincinnati's first daily digital show that focuses on the Black community. Hey, listen, if you like the content that I'm creating, please like and in particular share today's show. It means everything. And take a second, if you're a YouTuber, like if you enjoy YouTube news and entertainment, I'm on YouTube, Nathan Ivey EY. Please subscribe today and make sure you hit and enable the bell notification so you can find your way back to my content. We'll be back in just a minute.
The Nathan Ivey Show is supported by listeners. Go to www.patreon.com/Nathan Ivey Show and help Nathan keep the show independent.
Black Business Report. I'm Mark Mills. President Trump's vaccine ambitions contradict his own health experts. Trump again promised that a COVID-19 vaccine for Americans could be ready within weeks, a timeline faster than has been deemed possible or likely by the scientific agencies overseeing the effort and the companies developing the products. FBI Director Christopher Wray warned Russia is seeking to hurt Democrat Joe Biden's presidential campaign. Wray told a Capitol Hill hearing that Moscow is carrying out efforts to sow discord in the U.S., primarily to denigrate Vice President Biden. Minority households are bearing an unequal share of the economic damage from the COVID-19 pandemic. A survey from the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation and Harvard's T.H. Chan School of Public Health found that 60% of Black households, 72% of Latino households, and 55% of Native American households are suffering serious financial problems directly due to the COVID-19 outbreak. And that's your Bloomberg Black Business Report. I'm Mark Mills.
This is Zoe Wesson. What side of history do you want to be on? The right side? Or one where Black people continue to be underrepresented in Hamilton County? Now's your chance to end 230 years of exclusion. In Charlie Winburn, we have a man that's received the Cincinnati NAACP President's Award, who fought on the Ohio Civil Rights Commission for 6 years, who received the Baptist Ministers Conference Community Service Award. Charlie Winburn has received the Southern Christian Leadership Conference Award and was honored by WDBZ The Buzz as Pastor of the Month. We know Charlie Winburn, and he knows us. He's the right man to put us on the right side of history. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote for Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote on Tuesday, November the 3rd, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
This is Zoe Wesson. There are a few times in life to make history. Hamilton County was founded 230 years ago, but has never elected a Black county treasurer. It's time for change. Elect a proven, trusted, experienced candidate for Hamilton County Treasurer, Charlie Winburn. We know Charlie, and he knows us. Charlie Winburn was the former chairman of the Jobs and Growth Committee on Cincinnati City Council under the Honorable Democrat Mayor Mark Mallory. Winburn led the fight to keep 2,000 U.S. postal jobs in Cincinnati. He also fought for wage increases for thousands of city employees, especially our sanitation workers. Charlie Winburn will safeguard more than $1.4 billion in real estate taxes and will increase new home ownership and new jobs. On Tuesday, November 3rd, vote Charlie Winburn for Hamilton County Treasurer. Let's make history together.
I am Charlie Winburn, and I'm asking you for your vote, paid for by friends of Charlie Winburn.
You're listening to the Nathan Ivey Show. One man, one microphone, one mission. Now let's get back to the flow.
All right, quick break, everybody. Welcome back. Nathan Ivey with you. Discussing many things this morning, including 3 things you might have missed this week. I've already discussed 2. I've got 1 more to share with you. There was a very interesting conversation with City Council just a couple days ago in which the mayor gave his viewpoint about TIF dollars. He says, look, this is a power that should remain with City Council. Well, I mean, many of you are voters here in Cincinnati. What do you think? Do you think that community council should have veto power or more authority over how TIF dollars are doled out by Cincinnati City Council? Do you think that that will make a difference? And are you hip to what Betsy Sunderman, she is one of the newest members of City Council, is proposing? She's proposing that an ordinance that will not allow for city council to ever defund the police. We talked to Sister Iris, and she's like, look, I mean, that's just good government. If you sit down in any way, as I understand it from Bessie Sunderman, if you sit down and you decide that you got to make some cuts in various departments, why should the police department be immune from that? Isn't that just good governing? You tell me. 513-873-7134. How many other members of city council are jumping on this? And is this Bessie Sunderman just playing politics, using the misery and tragedy of shootings, of gun violence, to try to make herself look like the Xena warrior for the local police department? That's what it seems like to me. But what do you think? Again, 513-873-7134. As I said right before we went to the break, I got a call on the line. We got John from Florida on the line. Hey, good morning, John, and welcome to the show. Hey, John, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Nathan Ivey, and the good people of Cincinnati, as well as the good people around the world. And yes, those choppers. Good morning, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great. Welcome.
Well, thank you. Too often I don't call in, working on multiple projects, another book, and a digital 3D African-American museum. We'll talk about that another time, but a lot of her hard work, I'm partnering with Florida Tech University here in Florida, as well as NJIT. These are one of the top electronic, or should we say, electronic industry universities across the country. So we'll get into that as things develop. Both of those projects will not be, the book as well as the museum will not be finished until next year. As things merge, I'll give you an up-hand idea about it, as well as the book that I talked about that's coming out. Too often I'm a multitasker. I can sit and listen to you and have the TV on and have your station on my laptop as I work. I'm a multitasker. That's just how I am. When it's time to focus on one thing, then I do focus on one thing. But I was eager to call in as I listen to you, see you. Say you have a problem locally, and probably we know problem with the police force across the country. That problem has always been there. This is nothing new. But I think the American people have to take stock, mainly African Americans. My question to you, why is it these issues with gun shootings, police getting out of control, doing what they want? Too often we see the nightly reports on the weekend. I'm sure you saw that video of that young man on the ground and his girlfriend and the baby jumping out of the car, screaming, telling the cops to stop. And they're on top of them, banging this kid in the head. You know, this will not stop, I believe, until black people fight back. This is why they don't respect us as a people, because we don't fight back. This doesn't go on in any community except the black community. You think that goes on in the Jewish community or the Italian community or Irish community? No. Cops better not come in there and do that, because they fight back. But black people do not fight back. Historically, that's always been a fact why we don't fight back. We're so quick to, let's hold hands and sing Kumbaya, my Lord. Let's sing that spiritual song, We Shall Over. Stop it. Stop it. That's why these kids are not taking it on the street. Black Lives Matters, they're not taking it. You know, when are we going to, as Malcolm X say, what the hell is wrong with you black people? I'm sorry, young kids, if you're watching Nathan Ivey, young ones. Forgive me for that one word, but it's a fact. Young people understand we as black people, or the guard, the old black guard, 50 to 60 years, their time is over with. This is a new young generation, Black Lives Matters, and different groups across the country and around the world that is not taking it anymore. And if you think if that character in the White House gets reelected again, all hell is going to break out across the country. They have no stomach for dealing with this guy another 4 more years. Even old people don't want to deal with him. The only way he's going to win this election, he's got to steal it. And if he steals it, all hell will break out in this country. I predict that. You can put stock to that. Do you think you want to tolerate another 4 years of this dictator, this Genghis Khan, this Caesar, this Hitler in reincarnation? That's what he is, all in one. Nobody's going to take this guy no more. So he's got to steal the election. And we're seeing it before our eyes. He's trying to steal the election. This is unbelievable. But, you know, the police, let's stick with the police situation. I agree with your assessments, you know, locally, nationally. Until black people arm themselves and fight back, this foolishness will continue over and over and over again. And I don't see no end to it. That's why I applaud Black Lives Matters and these organizations. And we, you know, the good thing about what I see is not just black people hitting the streets marching. There are white people alongside them, young and old. So, you know, some of you can sit back, what are you doing, John? But sitting there in the clusters of your sunny, but you're not doing, you don't know what I'm doing. I fight in my own way. We all fight in our own little way. We may not be hitting the pavements with Black Lives Matter, but some of us that stand up fight in our own little way. I know, Nathan Ivey, you're quick to say, you're going to do an election. We shall see. I eagerly wait to see what those debates are going to turn out. If Biden is going to stumble and bumble, because you know what Trump is. He's going to sit up there and lie and twist things around and try to get to Biden. That's the only thing he can do. He's a gutless little worm, the rat that sits in the White House. But let's see if Biden could be presidential or will he'll bumble and stumble his vice presidency. Will she come in and try to save the day? Which that will be a key debate, her and Cheney. I predict she will rip Cheney, pinch a new one. Yes. Let's see. Thanks. Let's see. I think she's going to rip him apart. We'll Trump and Biden will be just a cakewalk to me. Once you get through one debate, I don't need to see anymore. I'm not really interested in seeing Biden and Trump because I know how that foolishness is going to play out. What I'm interested in seeing is the vice president debates. That's what I'm interested in seeing. As I told you, and I'll end with this, as I told you, I don't think Biden is going to last a year and he'll step down. Man is slowing down. You see it. He steps down, yes, the vice president will walk in, and I'm curious to see if she comes in, who is she going to pick as a vice president?
You're way out ahead on that one.
Very curious.
Okay.
That'll be very curious.
You'll be very curious, huh? All right, John. Thank you for the call, man.
All right.
Take it easy. Good to hear from you. John is busy. Now, I can say this. John is a very busy man. He is prolific. He's a writer. He's already got at least 2 books out. He is a producer of films. Yeah, I mean, you know, John is deep in the culture, man. He's doing a lot for the culture. He really is. John travels the world. I don't doubt a word he's saying about some of the partnerships that he's made. Like, John is about that life. For real, for real. The man just don't vote. I mean, that's what just confounds me and confuses me about the man. He does all these things and he talks all this ish, but he don't vote. Listen, take a second. You may not know this, but I have a website, 3dubs.nathanivey.com. You can subscribe to my newsletter there. And then all of the audio and the video of all of my shows is posted there as well. And you can make various connections to where you can listen to and follow the show. Keep your eyes on there. And I'll be doing exclusive content directly from nathanivey.com as well. So check it out today. You can listen to the show. You can listen to the show live as well every single day on the website. And then after each show, I always upload the video and you can check it as well. And also there are exclusive interviews, like some of the interviews that we do, I'll post them there exclusively. And that's where they're warehoused and you can check them out as well. All right. Good morning to you. Good morning to you. 513-873. Thank you for the correction. I hate to be incorrect, but you're right. Harlem Nights. I was saying a Rage in Harlem. Sorry. I had 2 Harlem movies in my head, but Harlem Nights, you're all correct about that. Somebody says WAP rules the world. Sunshine is real. Yeah, the character of Sunshine is real, but this idea that WAP is going to keep a man, ladies, and again, I fully admit that perhaps that advice is for, let's say, less mature women. I think mature women understand this, but I'm answering your question here because I see this answer come up over and over, this question come up over and over again. Why do men cheat? Why do men cheat? Why do men cheat? Why do men cheat? Why Jay-Z cheat on Beyonce? He's with Beyonce. She got cheated on. Right? What was it? Becky with the good hair? It wasn't the good hair. It was the mystique of New Il Nana. And that's just the way that's the way your God, if you believe in God, that's the way God made men. That's the way he made us. He made men, heterosexual men, that way. He made us that way. He set this up inside of us. Men didn't set this up. God set this up. If you're mad at anybody, be mad at God. We're just God's simple, fragile creatures. Say it with me, black men don't cheat. But why do men cheat? Men cheat for a variety of reasons. It all comes down to the individual man. You know what I'm saying? You can have the best woman in the world. She can have the whoppiest wop that's ever been made in all of wopdom. But if that man, for whatever reason, and a lot of men cheat for, you might be surprising, it's insecurity. A lot of these dudes out here run around getting sexual conquests because it makes them feel good about themselves, right? It's the only way they can feel good about themselves if they get with a woman. And then the more beautiful the woman is, or the more accomplished she is, the better he's going to feel about himself, which I think is some weak ass ish to me, quite honestly. You know what I'm saying? But that's why. You know, that's why some of these dudes, they need to cheat because they don't feel good about themselves. And then there's some men, like when a woman steps to him, married or not, and she lets it be known that she's interested, it becomes a challenge. You know, it's like, wait a minute. You think I won't smash the Il Nana? I won't smash the cookies, the pink cookies? Yes, I will. You know, become like involved, and I'm going to say this again. If you're in a relationship, ladies, with a man, and you doing good to him and doing right by him, and you giving him the wop, and he cheat on you, don't take it personal. It ain't personal. It's his problem. It's something inside of him, and you can't fix another human being. You can't fix him. There's nothing you can do. There's nothing you can do. You can't bribe him into not cheating you. You can't hit him with the whoppiest wop of all time. You can set up threesomes. That might go a long way. You can do all this. Women to do all that stuff. Set up threesomes with their man, with their friends, and I'm going to try to control when he cheats and all that. You can do all that. I mean, that might work. I don't know. I mean, that might have an impact on it, but at the end of the day, there's no Il Nana like no Il Nana. That's like they said in the Best Man movie. There's nothing you can do about that. Ask Beyonce. Ask Halle Berry. You know, they two of the most beautiful women in the world and all this kind of stuff, right? They got cheated on. You know what I'm saying? And they big time superstars. Ask Mary J. Although I think that was because she was a bad wife, but I'm just saying, you know, don't invest in that. That stuff don't really matter. It's hard to predict. Same thing with a woman. I could flip this. You know, you could have a man that's doing everything, although women are cut a little differently, but generally speaking, the same thing holds. You can have a man that's doing all the things he's supposed to be doing, in and out of the bedroom, he providing, he's this, he's that. If she want to cheat, she's going to cheat. It's nothing you can do about it. If she's got a wandering eye, there's nothing you can do about it. Don't even try, because you're wasting your time. You should invest that time in building a real estate empire or something like that, because you can't stop another human being from doing what they want to do. You can't threaten them. You can't prenup them. You can't have babies and think, oh, he's got babies now. That don't mean a damn thing at all. It don't matter how pretty you are, because there's a lot of pretty women out there. There's a lot of gorgeous. And they all got WAP. WAP is not like water, because water is essential. But WAP is almost like, grains of sand on the beach. There's a lot of WAP out here. It's everywhere. Every time you look around, there's some WAP. And there are women who are willing to share the WAP. You can't compete with that. Don't even compete with it. It's a waste of your time. Just live your life. Be you. Do you. Have your standards. Hopefully things go well. They don't. Move the hell on. That's it. That's it. And, this is Cardi B. And I had a show maybe about a year ago. The title of it was Asking Offset from the Migos. This is right when they got married. It was like right after the news broke. The title of that podcast was Asking Offset from the Migos to be faithful. It's like asking Donald Trump to be truthful. It just ain't gonna happen. Some men, they can try, but it's just they're in a space opportunity inside of them, it's just not going to happen. So why would you want to try to force somebody to be monogamous that don't want to be monogamous? I don't get that. Let him be him and you go do you. That's it. I mean, if I want to be monogamous, I want to be with a woman that wants to be monogamous. I'm not trying to convert a woman that don't want to be monogamous and try to make her monogamous, because that's a waste of my damn time. I got better things to do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it is what it is. The actions of grown folks is a reflection of the people that's taking the actions, not me. If my wife go out and do something, that's a reflection on her, not me. That's what she's doing, not me. If I go out and do something, that's a reflection on me, not her. I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? But some people, they just break down. Oh my God, I guess I'm not beautiful. I know what I am, period. I don't give a damn what nobody do. Wifey, anybody. You know what I'm saying? I know what I'm doing. And that's the attitude you got to take. You know what I'm saying? Bar none. It don't matter. You know what I'm saying? My self-esteem is internally motivated. It's inside of me, how I look at me, not what somebody else necessarily thinks, says, or does. I see too many people they lose their whole life because somebody cheated on them. I'm like, go get you a little something to keep on moving. There it is. All right, but enough of that. If you want to share your thoughts, 513-873-7134. The myth of sunshine. You know what I'm saying? I had a career before I got married. I mean, it's some good WAP out there, you know what I'm saying? But it ain't like life-changing or nothing like that. I mean, you put everything in its context. WAP has its place, but WAP can't replace certain things that are even more important in this world. You know what I'm saying? But I get, I'm a mature man now. I mean, when I was early in the game, 2019, before my career and experiences, maybe I looked at it differently. I'm just here to tell you, share this with your young folks. It ain't that serious, B. You got to control it or it will change your life. Let's go to the phones. Hey, good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Nathan. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, man. Welcome to the show.
Absolutely wonderful to hear. Hey, I got to ask a question about, what's his name? Offset and Cardi B. Was he cheating with the same woman or was it multiple women?
We don't know. We don't know. We just know that maybe it was like 3 or 4 months ago, she was complaining and was thinking about getting divorced. And then in the court papers, as I understand it, and it's been posted online, that they have irreconcilable differences. So the implication is that perhaps he got caught cheating again.
Oh, okay. Well, it sounds to me like she should be thankful to him.
Why so?
Because he wasn't involved. He was involved with more than one woman, which means he wasn't really he wasn't catching feelings for anybody on her. He just, wanted something different. He probably was respecting the relationship. Like, you got to kiss my kid. Because it was kind of like Tiger Woods. He had all those women because he wasn't interested in catching feelings in any of them, with any of them. And, he just, I mean, I hate to say it. I mean, I don't know how to really say it any plainer. His wife's got to kiss his kids. Some men are sensitive about that. Sounds goofy, but it's true. I mean, you saw it on Analyze This. When that mobster, even though it was a comedy, that mobster said that. Paul Vitti, about why he cheats on his wife. It's like, my wife's got to kiss my kids. And if y'all can't pick it up from there, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying?
I follow you.
Yeah, so I think Cardi B kind of owes him a debt of gratitude.
That's an interesting spin.
I mean, I'm just saying. I'm just trying to, like everybody's blaming him for that. I mean, some people. I'm telling you, I know people that have done that. That that's not like movie stuff. I know people that have done that.
Right. Some of these dudes out here cheating and they straight trifling is what you're trying to say.
You know what I'm saying?
And there's some dudes that's cheating and they've got a certain standard to it.
Right. Now, Tiger Woods had no standard. It didn't matter what they looked like with him. There was some were like, like 6 foot and, big as me. Some of those women he was with. You know what I'm saying? Like, he had no standard. I don't know about Offset here. But I just hope he don't get, played to go into a sex clinic like I got a problem.
Right. I hate
that. No,
you
ain't got a problem. You're 25.
Exactly. You're 25 and you're a millionaire in one of the biggest hip hop groups in the world. You ain't got no sex problem.
Exactly.
You got an opportunity
You're
issue.
25, you're rich, and you got plenty of free time. You don't have a problem. So I just hope they don't play to the young brother like that.
Right. I hate that.
Let's not excoriating too much now. I mean, he, at the end of the day, he probably woke up and realized, I don't care how much money she got. She used to be a stripper. Everybody's seen these breasts. You know what I'm saying? And he probably just realized he made a mistake marrying her. It could be anything. I don't want to excoriate. We can't excoriate our brother. For what it's worth, he's still our brother. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
She is not FBA. He is. Let's not throw him under the bus too much now. But I just want to apologize to the Choppers. I gave you a loser yesterday. AJ Green looks old as F. And I believe the Bengals owe him an apology. They wasted his career. They wasted a Hall of Fame level talent's career. When he first started, he was getting underthrown by Andy Dalton. Now he's older, getting overthrown because he can't move like he used to. You know what I'm saying?
You're right. I agree. They wasted. We said this. They wasted his career with Rudy Tootie, Andy Dalton, and now he's older in years and can't keep up. What do you think about Joe Burrow? Game 2.
I like his mettle. I like his moxie. The kid can play, but I think he'll be good in the long run. But one thing I did say about him, which is averse to what I said, I think he'll be okay in the long run. But one thing I did say about him that showed last night, he's never called an audible. All his audibles at LSU were preset for him. He's never called his own audible. So at the line of scrimmage, he's not checking into the right play. That's why Joe Mixon can't get off. I mean, the offensive line is bad, but, when you got 8 people in the box, you got to, somebody's got to get open. You got to call a pass play, change that play. He's not doing that. Or he doesn't do it well enough because he never did it at LSU in college where he was supposed to train to do that. I know it's kind of minutiae and probably alienated some of your listeners. That's more of a sports topic, but that's what I saw. You understand what I'm saying? So, I just wanted to say that I believe the Cincinnati Bengals owe AJ Green an apology for wasting his career. I mean, he got paid for his services, but he deserves much better than this. And now he's decrepit. Now he's just one of the guys now. Like he used to be dominant. Now he's just a guy. And they'll be start talking about he's overpaid here before the end of the year. So, but that's all I got. I just wanted to issue that apology for that losing. I don't like issuing losers because, if y'all invest in it and it loses, I lost too because I wouldn't give you something that I don't invest in. You see what I'm saying? So I just feel bad about that, and I'll holler at you next week, B.
You may hear more of his sports picks here on the show. That's Fane Rothstein. The sports betting. It's big. A lot of folks like to do what they do with their money. I ain't here to criticize you. You do you. Yeah, I'm just curious about it. He says that the Bengals owe AJ Green an apology because they wasted his career. Absolutely true. But this is why I started watching the Bengals. I refused to watch the Bengals when Andy Dalton was the quarterback. I just wasn't going to do it. Because as long as he was the quarterback, I knew they weren't committed to winning. They were not committed to winning with Andy Dalton there. And I understand all you people out here running around watching the games, and that's your damn quarterback. And he don't have what it takes. No moxie, no mettle. He's got the physical skills, but it's all in his head. He used to touch his hair more than the receivers would catch the footballs. His little cute little hairstyle. I guess he went to, I'm not sure where people get their hair cut here in the city of Cincinnati. White dudes anyway, I'm not sure. Went to casual cuts, got him a nice little GQ hairstyle, and had a BS game. No heart whatsoever. Rudy Tooty. And they got AJ Green, he was born. You could just see when they got AJ Green that he was born to play that position. A natural born gifted athlete. One of the premier wide receivers in the league. And you got a Rudy Tooty ass quarterback running around here talking about the red rifle. Remember these cats running, oh, it's the red rifle. Man, these white sports announcers be quick to come up with a nickname for their white quarterback, their savior, don't they? He's the red rifle. And what did the red rifle do? It ain't all on him because they had some flubs that had nothing to do with the quarterback. I must admit that. You know what I'm saying? Pac-Man. I mean, I don't even want to talk about those Pittsburgh Steelers playoff games. Let's not even talk about it. Let's not even get into it, but we'll see. They didn't give y'all a new savior. And it's funny how the NFL works. I'm telling you, they got a fantastic product. If you ever get a chance to buy into the NFL, you should do it. They got a fantastic product that just sells itself. It just sells itself. You got a horrible team, the very next year, you get the #1 draft pick. Oh, we got a savior. Another reason for the people to come back out and buy overpriced tickets and pay for cheap food. Telling you, man, if you don't have a plan for your money, somebody else does. It's called capitalism. It's called capitalism. Good morning to you. Letty writes, good morning, Nathan. A lot of WAP, but a real good woman is hard to find. That's very true. It's a whole lot of WAP out here. But a good woman, hard to find. Definitely 100%. 100%. And all these women think they marriage material. Yeah, right. Happy Friday, Nate from New Miami. Hey, good morning to you. Best Man is one of my favorite movies, Letty. Hey, good to see you. Don writes, Nunu. That's right. Why do these men be cheating? Because of Nunu. It's the Nunu biological phenomenon. We didn't set this up. I don't make myself think what I think. If you're a man out here, give yourself a break. You didn't make yourself think the way you think. These are biological imperatives that were hardwired into your DNA from the creator. This is bigger than you. It's bigger than you. But women just love to blame men for men being men. You know what I'm saying? That's why I say black men don't cheat. You're just doing God's work. Y'all gonna let me get away with that? Okay, I'm gonna keep running with it. Adele writes, Love Jones had the best soundtrack. Ballhead writes, good morning, happy Friday. Micah writes, sorry, Nate, can't agree. It never gets old. I didn't say it gets old. What I said was that you get used to it. I don't care how good the WAP is, you get used to it. But you wasn't supposed to lie? I'm keeping it real with you. You know I'm telling the truth. And it might be the same way with women when it comes to men. It probably is, but I'm not a woman, so I can't speak on that. The whoppier, the better. Facts. Majestic writes, the market is flooded with WAP. Too much WAP would eventually crash the economy. Yeah, right. FG writes, stop making up words. Whoppier. That's a real word. Whoppier. That's a real word. If it isn't, you heard it here first on the Nathan Ivey Show. You know what I'm saying? I might put that on a t-shirt. The whoppier, the better. You like that, don't you? All right, let's go back to the phones. Good morning and welcome to the show. Hello? That sounds like, man, I've been getting all kind of crazy phone calls. Is it just me? Speaking of which, Is It Just Me podcast later on today at 12:30. Donnie B's got a very interesting, now she'll be talking about things that have happened this week as usual, but she's got a very interesting guest scheduled at 12:30. Her name is Amber Smith. She's the Deputy Director of Voter Protection for the Ohio Democratic Party. And she's going to join Donnie today at 12:30 p.m. on Sin Digital Media, and you can check it out. Okay, it should be a very interesting conversation. You can learn about, well, what's going on in the state of Ohio. Al Sharpton came out this week and said that the state of Ohio was a bellwether for all black voters throughout the country. He said that the way that the state of Ohio votes, the way we go, is the way that other black voters will go throughout the country. Now, was he just trying to fluff us up for whatever reason? I don't know. But as an Ohioan, I keep telling you, we are a very important state as it relates to national politics and presidential election year politics in particular. So learn more about, what's being done to protect your vote and how maybe perhaps you can get involved. That's today at 12:30. Send Digital Media, CDM. You know what I'm saying? Hashtag No Cincinnati Polite. That's a No Cincinnati Polite media company. You know what I'm saying? Everybody, y'all can play it safe and be polite. We ain't about that. We about keeping it real. About keeping it 100. That's today. Don't miss it. Don't miss it. Let me see. Catching up here to your WAP is WAP. Women, keep your WAP healthy. A man needs some WAP in his life. Yes, a man does. Fame writes, WAP can be a detriment to your life. WAP has been allowed women to use semen as a lottery ticket. WAP makes men devise intricate plots to get rid of deceitful WAP. See, he going back to the same thing. Dale writes, wow, that's a change in direction. Yeah, I didn't know that Charmaine McGuffey was going to call in this morning, but it is what it is. Like I said, you know what you get when you listen to the Nathan Ivey Show. You're going to get interesting conversation on a morning basis. That's what you're going to get. Your morning destination for interesting conversation. Michael writes, she interrupting WAP talk with this WAP 2020. We can get back to WAP if you'd like to. David writes, 2 wins, 16 losses. Was that last year, the Bengals? Not good. Anthony writes, morning chop shop. Fast Pitch writes, replying to Jesse, right, but she might be sunset at this point. Nate, I will say it again. We need to have the ability to recall power for every elected official. I agree with you 100%. 100% I agree with you. Jeannie writes, good morning, Nathan and the Choppers. Good morning to you. Tracy writes, the amazingly truthful Nathan Ivey. You can depend on Nate, serious intelligence for courage and community. Thank you so much. With your sarcasm. I appreciate it. Dale writes, I'm surprised Cincinnati hasn't implemented a ward system of city government. Well, I mean, listen, the people, the power brokers, the mover and shakers, the developers, they've been getting what they want for city council. So why would they get behind change? You know what I'm saying? That might give, if we go to a hybrid not at large, but like district system, similar to what's being proposed by the folks at Fair Cincinnati. You can go to their website and look at their plan right now, faircincy.org. Then that might give too much power to the people. And the big time developers and the power brokers and movers and shakers, they're benefiting and have been benefiting from the way that the current city council structure is set up. So why would they advocate a change? It don't benefit them. So I ain't surprised. Anthony writes, I think a politician should have to come to the community and articulate how a project will benefit my community. If not good enough, we should be able to vote the project down. In theory, I like the way that sounds. TNT writes, good morning. David writes, it's Harlem nice. My apology. I know I was saying a rage in Harlem for like 30 minutes, but I'm on point now. Sorry. I knew it was Harlem Nights. It somehow got twisted around. I ain't perfect. Akeem writes, how much of an idiot is this dude Offset for throw that WAP bag out the window? Will Offset be out here like Eddie Kane in 20 years? I mean, like I said, some men can have a great woman and blow it. Happens every single day. It's happening right now. Some dude got an awesome woman, an awesome mate. He just don't know what to do with her. But you know what? Let me flip that. There are women who get awesome dudes and don't know what to do with them. There are women that get awesome, black, excellent men and have no idea what to do with it. End up acting like children and end up rejecting it and losing it because they don't know what to do with it. So I think across the board, it's just people. There's men and women that can have great mates, great potential, and have no idea. And see, we love to talk about men. We love to talk about when men mess up and how men don't know how to keep a good woman. But we rarely have a conversation about how women, there's a group of women out there that if they had a good man, they'd blow it. They wouldn't know what to do. They had a truthful man that was about building wealth and substance and, really building something with them. They would have they'd probably freak out. They probably wouldn't even trust it. Happens every single day. It's the myth of Prince Charming, right? These fairy tales miseducate us on gender roles and how men and women interact. There are some women that when Prince Charming comes trotting in on his horse and all his shiny clothes and future prospects, and they don't know what to do with this dude. They wouldn't know what to do with a good man if a good man and when a good man landed in their lap. They think it's all about the WAP and they have no idea. But again, we love to talk about men, but we rarely talk about, let me flip this for a second. I'm going to tell you, it's the myth of Prince Charming. There's been a whole lot of Prince Charmings that came into various women's life and they blew their deal, homie. Shot themselves right in the foot, cheating, lying, insecure, not really being able to trust it. And you know what they do? They blame the man they was with before him. Well, it ain't my fault I couldn't recognize it because I've been hurt so much. You responsible for you. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong. It happens every day. Some of y'all might have been in those relationships with women like that. You trying to be A1, truthful, faithful, and she blows the deal, homie. With her mistrust and her emotional baggage, bringing that baggage to well, I just couldn't believe it because the last guy, you better go see Iyanla. And don't bring that baggage to this new relationship because you're going to blow your deal. You're going to blow your deal. These Prince Charmings don't last too long. They do not last long. I think that the older you get, the more difficult it is to find that Prince Charming unless he or she is recycled. But that's just my thoughts. All right, one last thing I want to talk about because I want to give you 3 things that you may have missed this week. And is being reported, and you heard it with the Bloomberg Urban Report that we played about 30, 40 minutes ago, that the Russians, that Russian operatives are once again trying to influence our election. Okay, this is new news. This is not old news. This is new news. And if you're a black person in particular, you should be paying attention to this. If you're a black person in particular, you should be paying attention to this. This matters to you. FBI chief warns of Russian meddling in U.S. elections. Now, why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you, homie, because the FBI director is Christopher Wray. These are all Trump appointments. He's a Trump appointee. He's saying that Moscow is interfering in our election with a steady drumbeat of misinformation. It's like human nature. Like if you try something and it works, why not try it again? In 2016, the Russians, without getting into more detail as to who it is and what they're really called, but the Russians, they were able to interfere and disrupt our election cycle by using propaganda, misinformation, and in general, creating a lot of division and chaos. Why is this particular of interest to black voters? Because they use black voters against the American electorate system. What do I mean? The resentment that black people have because of the history of discrimination, white supremacy, not having equity intangibles. They use that against black voters. We were the tip of the spear of their disinformation, movement in 2016. How do I know this? I know this because Trump's FBI put out the information. It's on the internet. You can look it up right now. It's been widely reported that the tip of the operations was to interact with black voters. And so since they're doing what they did in 2016, family, I'm here to tell you to keep your eyes open because they're going to try to do it again in 2020. It just makes sense. Okay? And as I've said before, I'm going to keep sounding the alarm. It's far easier to influence somebody by pushing them in a direction that they're already leaning, like pushing them to the extreme, than it is to try to turn them around and make them do a 180. So what am I telling you this? Watch these Facebook groups. You probably gonna be getting Facebook requests to a lot of different Facebook pages and groups, and you might have some new friends. Be very careful. Be very careful. Be very, very analytical and critical about the information that's being disseminated on Facebook, on social media, on Twitter. You probably gonna see some people, they got Twitter accounts and they B1 and they black furs. They the blackest folks that's ever been out there. I'm just saying, watch it. Be careful. You probably gonna be getting friend requests from a whole lot of different people. And it seems as if, hey, our ideologies align. Watch it, family. Be careful. Be careful. I mean, without getting into all the details, let me just tell you, the Russians were very, very good at influencing people. And again, the best way to influence intelligent people is not to challenge them straight ahead. It's to come from over here. To push you in the back. Like, oh, you feel this way already? Well, let me push you a little bit more. Yeah, Joe Biden crime bill. Yeah, that was some BS. Let me give you some more information. You know what? Conscious black voters don't vote. You know, all this kind of stuff. Be careful. Be very careful. It's going to be a lot of disinformation out there. You know what I'm saying? You're going to have people that's sharing stuff that might be disinformation. And I'm just here to tell you, I watched them do it. I tried to talk about it as much as possible back in 2016 to make sure that this audience was hip to the game. I think I was successful in some attempts, but I'm just telling you, be careful. Be very, very careful, man. That's why I say we got to focus on policy. We got to focus on what they are going to do now. I think that what happened in the past is important to a point, but that can be used against some of the smartest people out there. Don't let it be used against you. I'm telling you, Trumpsters would love for you to think that there's no difference between Trump and Biden. If you start thinking like that, Trump wins. Trump wins. That's the same thing they did with Hillary. There's no difference between Hillary and Trump. There was huge differences between Hillary and Trump. Benghazi. Who gives a damn about Benghazi? What's that got to do with anything? It was a tragedy. People lost their lives. What's that got to do with the presidential election in 2016? Nothing. Be careful. Be careful. I'm seeing all types of new YouTube videos and channels out here where people are criticizing, voices in the community. And be careful. Be careful. I've seen some of this stuff surrounding Tariq Nasheed. I've seen some of these new YouTube channels that's suddenly challenging, Dr. Umar. And again, to me, the best and most influential disinformation and propaganda has an element of truth in it. Like, oh yeah, that's true. So the rest of this must be true, right? Watch it, family. Watch it. Keep your eyes open. Question everything. Analyze everything. You know what I'm saying? Because the games are afoot. The games are afoot. They are back. They are back. And again, this is the Trump administration. Trump who ran around and didn't want to have a conversation about the FBI helping him because he felt like it made him look bad. Notice the pattern here. Anything that potentially makes him look bad, whether it's true or not, he wants to lie about it. And if the FBI director, Christopher Wray, is in fact defying the will of Donald Trump by coming out and making this public, it must be true. And what he's saying is that the disinformation is designed at denigrating Joe Biden, as well as Americans' confidence in the election process. So some of you folks might have been friends on some of these Facebook pages and groups, And it's all about, what has they ever done for us? What's the Democrat Party ever done for us? They ain't never done nothing for us. Elements of truth. But you don't know what their real motivation is. You don't know what their real motivation is. Their real motivation is for you to get caught in your feelings and think, you know what? What's voting ever done for black folks? And then have you not vote. And if you don't vote and the majority of black people vote for a Democrat Party candidate, then who does that help? It helps Donald Trump. Be careful. Some of these black voices for Trump, be careful. You don't know who they are. You don't know where it's coming. You don't know where the money's coming from. Man, the Russians was doing things like, if I can remember, they were doing things like creating fake accounts with people that was anti and pro Hillary, and then populating all of social media in an attempt to try to push and pull people in different directions. They was doing stuff like giving money to hip hop artists, right? You had hip hop artists in St. Louis. I remember particularly, it was a hip hop artist in St. Louis that had like a big song in St. Louis that had some themes that challenged the St. Louis the police department. All of a sudden, he got 20 grand to make a video. It was the Russians. Why? Anything to create doubt, chaos, confusion. They're going to do it again, family. Now, on the surface, you wouldn't even think that would have any kind of impact in the presidential electoral process. But again, chaos is a ladder, man. Just chaos, noise, division. There are people that know how to climb that ladder to get what they want. And one of the best ways to denigrate Joe Biden is talking about the crime bill. I'm not saying we should talk about it. I just recognize that that's an end. Like if I was an intelligence operative, I'd be using all that stuff. It's an end. It's true. It's true. The most damaging propaganda, the most damaging information is the stuff that's actually true. And you just amplify, baby. You just turn up the heat. Oh, yeah, don't forget this. And that's what he did with Hillary. All of a sudden, we talking about Hillary, what she said about, gangs of youth and got to bring them to heel. I mean, it's relevant, but who's behind it? What is their motivation? Is it elevating the conversation so we can be the most informed, or is it about denigrating a candidate? Be careful. That's all I can say. All right, let's go back to the phone. This is the last call of the morning. Let's say good morning and welcome to the show.
Good morning, Mr. Ivey. You have just triggered me. This is your West Side Connection, Drop Squad 52, out here on the left coast. Just chilling on Friday. It was 6:30 out here. I was getting ready to go into my life after the Nathan Ivey Show. And then there you go. Mr. Ivey, really? Are we going back to 2016 again? Deja vu all over again. Mr. Ivey, I know your memory. Mr. Ivey, how can you forget 2016 and Barack Obama, who had the audacity to come in front of the press corps and say, yep, I just talked to Vladimir Putin and I told him to knock it off. No more meddling in the American elections. Don't worry, America. It's all under control. I told Putin to knock it off. Now, Mr. Ivey,
that was a stronger stance than Trump ever took.
You do not remember that?
I remember because it was a stronger stance than Trump ever took with Putin.
Okay, but Mr. Ivey, here we are again, 4 years later.
Yeah.
The same scenario. And Glenn from Mason, Mr. Cleophas, just shut your ass up. Because I'm going to play that clip of your voice telling everybody in the chop shop. If y'all think that Drop Squad gonna convince y'all that this is 2016 all over again, I ain't even gonna repeat it because I just posted it in the shop. You got that clip where Glenn from Mason is telling me that this is not 2016 all. Mr. Ivey, it's 2016 all over again. Really? Joe Biden yesterday at his so-called rally at a freaking drive-in, people sitting in front of their cars, he's trying to compare his life.
Sounds responsible.
in Scranton as a little white boy growing up, comparing his white privilege life to black struggle. I'm like, this dude is unbelievable. But I guess black people gonna be gullible, like you just said, Mr. Ivey. Black people gonna fall for it again. They're gonna get blamed for it again because it's never the Democrat policies. It's never the Democrats pandering to their black base, which again, Mr. Ivey, black people ain't falling for it again, Mr. Ivey. I'm telling you.
So should black people fall for Trump's rhetoric when he says he's done more for them since Abraham Lincoln or any other president? That sounds like pandering. That sounds like taking people for granted.
Mr. Ivey, black people just like me are sitting here listening to your show, and they're saying this was the same thing in 2016. Everything that's being said about Trump now was said about him in 2016. The only difference is Donald Trump has a record for less than 4 years. Some of the things that this man, a non-politician, has accomplished is unbelievable, Mr. Ivey. And I don't care if you want to say that the Trump administration and the Republican Congress was able to take black unemployment and Hispanic unemployment, black poverty level, and Hispanic poverty levels to historic lows.
Thank
Mr.
Obama
Ivey.
for that. And you know what? You should stop saying something. Stop
No,
saying
it's
Trump
too late,
is not
Mr.
a
Ivey.
politician.
You can't even thank
true.
Obama.
You should
Mr.
stop
Ivey,
saying
how
that.
you have the audacity to bring up that fake first black president, Barack Obama, whose black card has expired, and he don't even have the time to go try to get it renewed. You ain't seen him nowhere, Mr. Ivey. It's disgraceful.
He's not the president. I don't need to see him anywhere. But listen, just to clarify, you should stop saying that Trump is not a politician. He is a politician.
He is not.
He is
the
a politician.
First president to ever be elected without ever receiving a vote for public office.
Trump
he is the first, Mr. Ivey.
Is Trump running for re-election?
That's what presidents do.
I'm just asking a question. Is he running for re-election?
Yeah, but Mr. Ivey,
that means he's a politician. That means he's a politician.
You're asking? No, Mr. Ivey. Like I said, Donald Trump is not a politician.
Donald
he is
Trump
the first president
is an elected official
to never have been.
Who's running for office.
I mean, we can go around in circles, but see,
that
again,
makes him
you're
a politician.
taking away.
Does he create policy? Does he suggest policy? That means he's a politician. Stop playing games.
No, that's what. No, he's the commander in chief. He's the commander in chief.
He's
Congress.
a politician.
See, Mr. Ivey, you playing with my emotions here, sir. Okay.
No, you're playing with your emotions.
Because
I'm just giving you facts. And you're right. We are talking about the same thing again. Kind of different.
It's
because
the same thing. You can't deny that point.
4 years ago, it was being reported that the Russians were interfering with the election. And now Trump's FBI director, Christopher Wray, is saying that Moscow is trying to do the same thing. This is Trump's FBI director.
James Comey was Obama's FBI
irrelevant.
director.
James Comey is irrelevant. He is not the current FBI director.
Not.
Christopher Wray is the current FBI director.
See, Mr. Ivey, you are a powerful, influential member of the media.
Keeping it real.
And I can't see, I'm the wrong guy. Okay. You could get away with this with John from Florida, AKA John from Princeton. But it ain't happening with me, Mr. Ivey. I'm going to hold your butt accountable. And see, that's why I say you triggered me. I don't know if it was intentional, but you triggered me because you knew I was going to bring it up. How y'all going to try the same thing again with the black Democrat electorate? Y'all basically telling black Democrat voters to shut up and vote.
No, we're not.
Any question, you ain't black.
Trump's FBI director is lying? Is that what you're trying to say? Do you think the FBI director, Christopher Wray, is lying about this information that he's sharing with the public?
That is not what I'm talking about,
so
Mr. Ivey, and you know it.
Okay.
Like I just said, Christopher Wray in 2020, James Comey in 2016. Barack Obama, the first black president, like I said, he stood in front of the country and told everybody, America has nothing to worry about with our elections in Russia. There is no way possible that any foreign government can tamper with our elections
now you're making
because
stuff
of the
up.
way they're set up.
Now you're making
they're
stuff
set
up.
up for 50 individual states and their secretaries of state to run their elections.
Now you're making stuff up. Now you just make stuff up now. Stop it.
Democrats want to make our elections national and have the same standards across the country, which is not constitutional.
Barack Obama never said that, and I can hear in your voice that you know it. But here's something that's new.
What?
Here's something that's new, and you didn't bring this up. Did you hear the story or read the story?
Okay.
Did you read the story about Olivia Troy, who was Mike Pence's ex-aide? Within the last 24 hours, she blasted President Trump over COVID response, and she says she's going to vote for Biden. She said it
when
was
did she
shocking.
get fired, Mr. Ivey?
She said
when
it was
did she get
shocking
fired?
that the President Trump said that COVID-19 was a hoax and that basically he had a disregard for human life and that in good conscience, she cannot vote for him. She's actually supporting Joe Biden.
Well, that's fine. She's an American. She could vote for whoever she wants to. But if you think that story is going to turn Trump supporters or Republican voters against Donald Trump, it's not going to work, Mr. Ivey.
No, that's not what I think the story does. What I think the story is emblematic
the country is divided.
Is
Mr.
the
Ivey,
turning
the country is
of
divided.
Trump supporters on their own. That story's not going to turn anybody. I just think it's one example of what's happening, I think, even within the Republican Party. Because, you know, the COVID-19 response from Donald Trump is something he can't run away from. And I think it really opened people's eyes as to how little he really cares about anybody other than himself. That's what I think the story is emblematic of.
Well, again, Mr. Ivey, it's political election year rhetoric. And the goal of any opposition research by opposing party is to either discourage their voters or to motivate their voters. And right now, Mr. Ivey, we can tell from the two rallies that were held last night, Donald Trump in Wisconsin and Joe Biden in I think he was in Wisconsin as well, or Philadelphia, I forgot. But he's out there, and when you see the visuals, like I told you yesterday, Mr. Ivey, you see the visuals. Everybody's waiting for this debate coming up on the 29th. So again, Mr. Ivey, if you think that saying that the Russians are trying to help Trump needs the Russians to help him win because Sleepy Joe is so pathetic. Mr. Ivey, if you had a freaking candidate that was worth his salt as a politician and not some old ass, dried up, crusty, hands-on, hiding Biden, Sleepy Joe as your candidate who think it's 1960, talking about how he struggled as a poor little white boy in Scranton, comparing it to black struggle. You pissing me off, Mr. Ivey, but that's okay. It's Friday. I ain't got no job. Drop Squad 52 dropping science to anyone who wants to catch it. Go Bengals.
Thanks for the call. That's drop right there. It just ain't going to work, B. It just ain't going to work, man. There's too many smart people. And I think that, you know, that COVID-19 response opened the eyes of some people that were on the fence that Trump needs to get reelected. I'm not prognosticating. I'm just telling you, there's a lot of people that voted for Trump the first time, and he blew it with his COVID-19 response. He had a chance to knock it out the park. I mean, a crisis can be looked upon as an opportunity to, you know, to really cement your leadership. And he didn't do it. And you got Republicans day after day that's coming out saying, you know what, I just can't ride with this guy no more. This is a Mike Pence aide. Mike Pence is one of the biggest Trump bootlickers that there are. I'm just saying, we'll see how it all pans out, family. I really appreciate you being here this morning. Listen, have an excellent rest of your day. I got to make a move. We're almost at 10 a.m. I'll be going live at 7:30 a.m. all week long next week. Okay, we're going to stick with that at least for another week. And I'll be going live from Sin Digital Media's Facebook page. So if you're on Facebook, I'll be going live directly from that page, and I'll share it to the Nathan Ivey Show page and other places as well. All right? I definitely want to put eyes on that Facebook page. So you'll be able to find me. If you haven't already liked and followed that page, please do so. CIN Digital Media on Facebook, and you'll get a notification whenever I go live. It's very, very important. If you like the kind of content that I'm producing, if you like the various shows on CIN Digital, great. Go ahead and give us a follow, and you'll get a notification whenever we go live. Okay, have an excellent rest of your day, family. Drop, that was a perfect call. That was a perfect call after I talked about, what was going on with the warning from the FBI director. And again, I only share that just so people can be aware that the games are afoot, family. The games are afoot. Be careful out there. Again, have an excellent Friday and a powerful weekend. I'll be back with you on Monday morning, bright and early. You know what I'm saying? No Cincinnati polite as always. I'm Nathan Ivey, and I'm out.